Hey guys, Josh the RV Nerd here from Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. And last night, one of our just awesome viewers, thank you guys so much by the way for all of your support and interest and questions, and I learned as much from you as I think you learned from me. But Mr. Anand asked, Anand, pardon me, I want to get that correct, asked a very good question. And I've got his question pulled up here, and you probably can't read the fine print on my mirror screen that's over here, but I really wanted to get this from the consumer view because I see exactly what he's saying here. And he says, in every video, you mention there's nothing wrong with particle board or OSB construction. Can you please make a video that sheds some light on this seemingly questionable claim? I love your videos and transparency, but it bothers me when you make this statement. I do, however, fully expect to be wrong and hope to get schooled from you. Keep them coming. So first of all, Mr. Anand, I can't thank you enough for the respectful way you asked this question, because decency is something that seems to be in short supply on YouTube nowadays. Anyway, to the point. Here's the best way I can describe this. And I'm kind of going off my notes that I left him here, so pardon me if I'm jumping back and forth a bit. It's a very good question. It's a very good question, and it's one of those things I probably should have done a better job of explaining previously. But long story short, there's nothing wrong with OSB. It's okay. There's a difference maybe between okay, good, better, arguably best. But see, that's the thing. What is best can easily vary based on the goals or the applications of a material. So when you hear an RV manufacturer is using OSB anywhere in their construction, the natural go-to I think a lot of people are going to feel is, well, they're obviously doing it because it's less expensive. And you're not generally going to be very wrong. That is most certainly one of the primary goals of that. But is that the only motivation they have? And sometimes it is, but not always. And that's why I put these videos together. And this is probably going to run long, guys. But it's a really important, this is how I rationalize RVs. This is how I've learned them. I want to kind of pass this along to you. So RVs, each brand of RV, you've heard me say that they're all the best in a different way because they're all built for specific purposes. There's no one RV that fits everybody, and there can't be. And that's fine. That's why we carry people. Why do you carry so many brands at Haylett RV? Because we can't find the one that everybody agrees on, guys. If you can build the one that everybody agrees on, I will pay you cash money. It'll make my job so much easier. But one of the ideas behind OSB construction is, of course, price point. But secondly, RVs are built with a general lifespan in mind. Not everything is designed to last forever, nor should it be, because there's different needs, different purposes. Now, this will surprise a lot of people, but the average period of ownership for a new RV is only 2.5 years. And that's not just some random concept I came up with. That's the statistic. That's the average period of ownership for a new RV before someone swaps out. So, it could be reasonable to say, why should I spend money on a camper built for a 15-year lifespan that I'm only going to use an average of 2.5 years? Even if you only use it for 5 years or 10, you could say that you're overpaying for an RV built for more than your intended usage. I'm not saying that that's the perfect logic. I'm saying that's one way of looking at it. There's more than one way to look at any of this stuff. So the idea could be, well, the average person's only going to own it for a couple years, and then after that it's used. And at that point, people are buying used for the price point, and the method of construction is far less of a concern on a used RV. So I understand that side of it. I'm not agreeing, I'm not disagreeing. I'm giving you ideas and concepts for you to consider and apply to your life. Then there are specific interests, and this is where it gets interesting. Here's where OSB is actually better, or the best, because it can be. If you look at something like a laminated motorhome floor, a big giant sheet of one-piece OSB on top of that laminated floor, all glued together, is actually one of the best methods because you don't have boards connecting together. That when you're going down the road in a motorhome, it's stressed just like any towable RV, but the difference is you're in a motorhome and you can hear when two boards are squeaking together. That's a huge difference in a motorhome, because getting there in a motorhome is as important as being there. That's happening in a fifth wheel or a travel trailer, but you're not inside of it to hear it. So that's an instance where OSB can be better. If you take a look at the PMAX flooring system that Jayco uses in their slide outs now, they used to use tongue and groove plywood in their slide out floor decking, but they don't do that anymore. They use this really heavy duty purpose built OSB floor deck on it. And it's heavier and it's actually more expensive, but it's stronger and it doesn't tend to buckle as much or as easily. So there are areas where it can be stronger. Now another thing is, if you look at these like 8 by 25 foot sheets of basically seamless flooring, you'll find in campers like the Springdale, the Cougar, the Montana, other brands, those actually have a greater load capacity across a span than an equivalent length of 4 by 8 sheets of tongue and groove plywood. So there can be some good benefits to it. Here's the really hard part though. OSB is an unbelievably general category. It's like saying RV or car. Holy crap, it could mean anything, Batman. So what kind are you getting in your camper? Is it generic, barely treated, dollar cheaper, dollar brand OSB? Or is it really heavy duty marine grade stuff? Does it have an anti-wicking treatment applied to it? And the hard part about that question, there is nearly no way for a consumer to tell, because even the phrase marine grade OSB is such a broad category. It can mean anything. You can have OSB that begins to deteriorate and break down when exposed to water almost immediately, and you can also have OSB material that has so much glue and resin and anti-wicking treatment to it that you can leave it in a bucket of water for 60 days and it won't fail. So it's hard knowing that. I mean, they build houses out of OSB, but I'll be the first to tell you and admit, generally speaking, the type of OSB they use in home construction is not what you're going to find in RV construction nearly across the board. So there's times where it's good, there's times where it's bad. It's hard for you to understand which. So what we tend to do, and this is general human nature, and I don't think it's wrong to do so, we want to buy something that eliminates risk. We want to minimize our risk in this purchase. We want to minimize our exposure for failures, for trouble, for problems, for anything. So when you hear the word plywood, it just feels better than OSB, doesn't it? And I'll be the first to tell you guys, despite all of my years and knowledge and behind the scenes look and under the skin peel back cutaways that I've seen of this business, to this day, if you say to me, well, do you like OSB or plywood? It's instinctive. I go, well, plywood. Even though it's not necessarily always guaranteed the best material, that's still what feels good to me. And I think peace of mind is a very significant factor in an RV purchase process. Because if you're not comfortable with something, even if you believe the story, even if you believe everything I've told you, that still doesn't necessarily make you comfortable with something, like I just described about myself. So if you're not comfortable with an RV and you buy it, you're probably never going to be completely happy with it, because you're always going to be sitting there waiting for the bomb to go off. You're going to be waiting for this thing to fall apart around you. Even if that never happens. And the longer it doesn't happen, chances are, the more sure of yourself that it's going to finally happen. So you do also need to buy what you're comfortable with. Maybe not necessarily what makes the most logical sense. And that's another whole tricky conversation. So there's a lot of good viewpoints either way. And there are going to be plenty of people who are going to watch this video, or they'll see the title of the video, and they're not even going to watch the video, and they're going to be already convinced that no, he's wrong, that it can never be better, that it's obviously an inferior material, and that nothing he says could possibly be right here. And to those folks, I would have to ask you why you even wasted your time watching this video. You're not wrong. You're not right. There's an in-between. So the answer is, which one's better? What material's better? And the answer is, that depends. That depends on where it's used, how it's used, what's your budget, what's your intention. How long are you going to have it? There are so many variables that there is almost never just a simple what is better answer to nearly any conversation in the RV business. That's how I've learned to dissect these things. That's how I've learned to look at these things. Hopefully you can take a little time to kind of absorb that and think about that, and that'll make some sense to you guys. Because it doesn't have to be complicated, but you can make it more complicated than it needs to be. And I think that this is one of those examples. So hopefully that kind of helps shed some light on the subject. Hopefully that kind of helps you understand the purpose behind the build of an individual RV. Maybe that'll help you understand the spirit of a camper when you look at it. And this is no doubt going to generate a lot of questions like, oh my God, is this probably going to generate a lot of questions? And I look forward to it. Give our team here at Haylett RV a call. Like, I'm kind of your host, guys, but I'm not the only guy here that knows my way around a camper. You give our sales team a call, and they can explain things to you just like I have, and maybe they could explain it in a different way that makes more sense to you if this isn't clear for you. So short of that, I sure appreciate you watching. I appreciate all the support you guys always offer. Thank you very much. Keep those questions coming. Share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff that you have to say at the end of a YouTube video. But short of that, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.